Welcome to Mastering Machines, where we discover tomorrow's reality.
It seemed like yesterday when we were using Midjourney exclusively through Discord, when the only evals that we had for videos were the Will Smith eating spaghetti video, and when Gemini was an absolute afterthought for most of the AI community. But now we're in a very, very different era of AI, and this is most illustrated by what released last week of Sora 2. Somehow we went from Sam Altman talking about cancer and ChatGPT being an infinite tutor for millions of underprivileged kids in the world, to now Rick and Morty and Mario memes and Sam Altman winning the championship for the Lakers, created with Sora 2. We thought they would cure cancer, but now we have to deal with infinite jest. If you thought TikTok was the culmination of late-stage capitalism and over-optimized social media and attention-hacking mechanics, think again. And now let's get into Sora 2. While Sora 1 was just a video model, a pretty impressive video model, Sora 2 has gotten even better, and a lot of the clips I see from Sora 2 are indistinguishable from reality. But the other thing is that Sora 2 is its own independent app, and it's an actual social media platform. Me personally, the best video I've seen so far is Sam Altman stealing GPUs from Target. That's probably one of my favorites. So first of all, with Sora 2, remember that it has a time limit of only 60 seconds, so you can only create clips up to 60 seconds. Sora 2 uses a process called diffusion transforming. You probably ask yourself, what in the hell is diffusion transforming? This is a process where it gathers random noise, as far as just like images, and encodes it into a latent space. Then it gradually transforms it frame by frame into an actual realistic video guided by whoever is making the prompts. And the great thing about Sora 2 is that it maintains the coherence of the actual clip, and it obeys real world physics, and prevents motion glitches. So a lot of the times when you're generating AI videos, there's a lot of glitching, a lot of weird physics going on that tell you that this is an AI video. But with Sora 2, they've cut down on that a lot from what I've seen. When it comes to the key actual features of the platform itself, one of the main things is that Sora 2 allows for synchronized speech and sound effects. So whatever your subject is saying, the lips match up with what they're actually saying, and the audio is synced with whatever is going on around it. So if they're in a nature setting, they're going to hear trees and grass on the ground. It's really, really cool. They have better physics. You're able to steer the model better than Sora 1 as far as bring in specific prompts and have specific styling like cinematic styles or certain animation styles. You're able to do that and do it more specifically with Sora 2. I also just found out the other day that you're able to do multi-shots, so you can have videos with different perspectives or different shots, just like how you would with like a movie or a TV show. And probably one of the most popular features and talked about features of Sora 2 is Cameo. And this allows users to insert themselves or others into videos with realistic likeness and voice. So this is basically the feature that has gotten basically the entire copyright law world into a tizzy. This feature allows you to put celebrities in different scenes or different scenarios. One of the more popular ones I've seen on TikTok is Tupac with Biggie in a WWE match. While Sora 2 definitely feels like a paradigm shift, there are a ton of external factors that are kind of going against what they're trying to produce, including ex-OpenAI members. A company by the name of Periodic Labs, which was started by Liam Fetus, who was OpenAI VP, And then also Ekin Dugas, who led some of the initiatives for Google Brain and I believe DeepMind. They're creating a company that aims to automate scientific discovery with superconductors. And they were essentially saying, on Twitter, if you don't want to work on AI slop and basically something that's going to be social media heroin for this generation, come join us. If we see any more platforms like Sora 2 really gain steam, and it looks like Sora 2 is gaining steam because it is the number one app in the App Store currently, and they're only using invite codes, I can only imagine what happens when everybody has access. But hopefully this is not the beginning of a what we see with Wall-E, where everybody's in chairs and just watching TV incessantly or watching programming incessantly while they just get fat and live a world not of the actual real world. Speaking of the real world, will kids of the future even want to live in reality if the ideal simulation of their life can be played out on their phone with how stunning the visual accuracy is with all these different platforms and video models? Imagine what it is right now and imagine what it's going to get to in the next 4 to 5 years. It's pretty scary. Giving people access to a tool like this is almost guaranteed that the attention span of the future might be 5x less than what it is right now. Right now, the average attention span is 8 minutes for passive tasks for teenagers. I think in the future it's going to be 3 to 2 minutes, if that. In this age of AI, we are promised infinite solutions to the hardest and most significant problems on Earth, like the cure to long-standing illness and functional solutions to society. But instead, what we're going to do is get a whole bunch of Sora memes that are targeted for ads, and eventually the end game is most likely going to be Sora generated videos with your face in it with ads. Imagine that. I'm truly scared for the next generation of high schoolers and what they're going to have to experience on their phones. I think there will have to be some type of government intervention to prevent the decay of young minds within society. And while we talked about all the esoteric issues around Sora 2, it's obviously a copyright disaster currently because the OpenAI team and Sam Altman just released it out into the sphere, and I think that they did this on purpose so they could kind of show everybody how impressive the model was while not really worrying about copyright and dealing with that after the fact. Because if they can prove this tool is effective and an effective social media tool, brands and IP are going to generate it and flock to it, naturally, because they're going to need to leverage it in the future. And I think that this was a kind of calculated thing by OpenAI. Also, the fact that all of these existing IP companies like Disney and Warner Brothers have to opt out. They're not automatically opt out, which is very, very shady to say the least. But like I said, I think this was a calculated bet by Sam and the OpenAI team to show people and get instant buy-in from the general public, because it's way easier to sell a social media platform if you're using their most favorite characters like Batman, Mario, or Dragon Ball Z. And the blowback from them not taking into account copyright, it would make Jenna Jameson at the Playboy Mansion blush. And I do take solace in the fact that Disney's legal team is most likely drafting up a lawsuit and salivating at the legal fees they're about to get from this whole situation caused by Sora 2. Sora 2 will be a grave misstep for OpenAI in the long term, I believe, because in retrospect, they'll realize that they're kind of following into the aspects of AI that everybody hates. AI slop, using it to decay the already decayed attention spans of the youth. I think that this is going to be seen as kind of a misstep in the future. While companies like Anthropic are doing the complete opposite and basically positioning themselves with their messaging as kind of the Apple of AI, saying that you can think along the AI. You are working in tandem with the AI, and you don't just rely on it for everything. You truly use it as a tool for your own discovery. All of these decisions that OpenAI has been making, though, is really reflective of what their financial situation currently is. Everyone knows that ChatGPT is one of the most popular products of all human history, as far as hundreds of millions of users within 2 years. But it's the fact of their revenue and their losses, their mounting losses, that's guiding their decision making from what it looks like. While they did report a really good $4.3 billion worth of revenue this past year, their losses are mounting, and it's looking like their actual operating loss is going to be $7.8 billion. I don't know what's going to happen with those amount of losses. I mean, I think that with all the capital expenditures between NVIDIA and AMD, that they will be able to float. But those amount of losses for what looks like is going to be happening for the foreseeable future, and it looks like they won't be profitable or even getting out of that hole until the early 2030s. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of those underlying financials and capital expenditures really drive their product making decisions and what they do in the future, because also they have a physical product coming out I'm assuming within the next year or two with Johnny Ive, which is a possible revenue generator if it does work, and that's a big if. I'm wondering if the Sora 2 can really capture the public's attention as a social media platform for years to come and not just a moment. That's going to be really interesting to see, because if they do, it not only challenges TikTok and Instagram, but also it's going to ask a lot of questions of us as a culture. Is what do we think about creators? Do we want stuff on creativity and social media to be from humans, or are we going to be okay with them being from AI mainly, and then kind of outsourcing it to the AI from what we used to do as humans? Because isn't the whole thing with social media is to be social with humans? This has been Mastering Machines, where we discover tomorrow's reality.